Sinclair, and I'm here with
A.J. Amissah.
A.J. Amissah. What do you do, bro?
I'm a lawyer in the D.C., Maryland area.
Okay. No Virginia?
So I do work in the Virginia. I'm actually not barred in Maryland, Virginia yet. I just passed the attorney exam in Maryland, but
Okay.
I'm not barred in Virginia yet. But I do work out there, so I guess the whole DMV.
All right, so the old DMV.
Yeah.
How long you been a lawyer, man?
So I've been a lawyer for about, I want to say 4 years. I've been out of law school for 5. So I was actually working in a nonprofit my first year out of law school, but I didn't pass the bar. So I had to kind of take the bar again, so then I passed the bar, and then I started practicing. But I was always doing this work for like the last 5 years.
Right. Well, how was that when you passed the bar? Like, it was a sense of relief, I'm guessing.
Oh, man, you know what's crazy about me passing the bar?
Yeah.
I found out on my birthday. So, like, I was literally already out. You know what I mean? Nah, actually, it's a lie. Matter of fact, I didn't know I passed the bar. I found out from Instagram that I passed the bar.
Really?
Right? Yeah, everybody was, like, posting my name on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Yeah.
And I was like, dog, damn. You know what I mean? I was happy as shit. I was actually at work.
Yeah.
And then, like, that same night, I already had plans to go to a bar. So, like, the celebration was even greater. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, that's not something cats like us, you know what I mean, when I grew up, I envisioned, you know what I mean,
Right.
is me being a lawyer or, like, starting a law firm. I kind of envisioned writing books and wearing dashikis on the metro, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
that was my goal. Like, that was, like, the black man fighting the struggle was, like, on the grounds, and then I realized that black man sometimes is limited, you know what I mean?
Right.
In his reach, so.
So when was that moment where you said, I'm going to become a lawyer?
Oh, I remember it today. I mean, it was when Trayvon Martin got killed. You know what I mean? It was that exact point. You know what I mean? I realized life was short, especially for us. You know what I mean? And I think that when I seen that, I was actually in college. It was my last year. I had a newborn kid. And, I mean, my mind was like, man, I was thinking about law school because when you get to college, they push law school on you, especially if you're a political science major.
Okay.
And you're doing a lot of stuff, like, politically with, like, the State House and, like, interns. Like, law school. And I was just like, it seems so far-fetched for a cat like me, right? I mean, my mom was the first person to ever go to college in her family, so we didn't really have that type of reach.
Right.
I knew of lawyers being in this area that looked like me, but our experiences, to me, felt different.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, and maybe that was just my perception that, like, this person's experiences seemed different, but, like, it just felt that way. So it didn't feel like it was something attainable for me. When he got killed, I just felt like I needed to have a bigger impact. And that impact was, like, I needed to be there, right? I needed to be in the mix. I needed to make moves. When you think about, like, the Civil Rights Movement, they all had lawyers, right? That's the part they don't really talk about, you know what I mean? They all had lawyers. Black Panthers had lawyers. Malcolm X had lawyers. Farrakhan had lawyers. Because it's what keeps us system, right? Keeps us out the system, but in the same way keeps us grounded to make the moves that we need to make, you know what I mean, for liberation.
Right. So, lawyers and liberation go hand in hand?
No. Yeah, it doesn't, but it does, right? I think that the law and liberation are like oxymorons, if you ask me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, you know, the law is not set up for us to be liberated.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I do think that we have used their system and their laws for short stints of liberation.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, I think that sometimes as a lawyer you feel like you're stuck in that web, that system, plea offer after plea offer, right? You know what I mean? I think that liberation is meeting people before they get to the law. For example, if you come, you retain me, you slap up your brother, right? Having me or somebody to mediate that situation before charges are pressed on you is the liberation piece.
Okay.
Because once you get caught in the system, I can only work in the confines of the system. And if there's videotape of you slapping your brother, there's only so much I can actually do. You know what I'm saying? Because that's concrete evidence corroborated by the testimony that your brother's probably going to give. Like, yeah, he slapped me because I wouldn't give him $5, right? And so, like, now, you know, how do I liberate you from a system that is designed to place its jaws on you to hold you tight so you never get released, right? The only way I liberate you is if you don't come in contact with that system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are times where you get people off, you win. But to be honest with you, man, like, I think that we got to start speaking from a place of, all right, if this person did this, right, what was the cause? And how do we change that cause?
So, an ounce of prevention is a pound of cure.
Nah, that's the perfect way to say it. You said it better than me in 3 words. You know what I mean?
So you try to look for ways to keep people out the system.
Yeah,
If you can.
Yeah. I think that my whole thing is, as a man, I would say the community, and like I didn't grow up in like a rich household. I mean, we struggled, right? So me and my brother, my mom raised me and my brother. We had a punk ass stepdad. You know what I mean? That didn't do shit, didn't help, and so like, I think that for me, I see the other side. You know what I mean? I seen my brother got in a lot of trouble when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it made me see the criminal justice system from a different vantage point, right? If someone would have came, if someone would have mentored him, if somebody would have reached out to him and like kind of poured into him, would he have kind of made those early mistakes in his life that have became lasting mistakes, right? He can't rent in certain apartment complexes because of his charges, right? He can't work in certain jobs because of his charges. Financial aid was a struggle because of his charges, a mistake he made at 18. You know what I mean? And so, like, I think for me, I don't say that I primarily work in preventing people from being out of the system, but what we really need outside of lawyers is people on the front lines that are pouring into these kids.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they don't have to deal with us.
In your practice, do you find any anything that happens often that people do to put them in a system that they can avoid?
Domestic violence.
Right.
We as black men are terrible at managing our emotions. It is very distraught, right? Because I didn't grow up with my father putting his hands on my mother, even though they weren't together, or my stepfather even putting his hands on his mother. So that wasn't my experience. Not saying I didn't see it, right? I seen domestic violence, but man, I'm telling you, from my vantage point, man, I see domestic violence a lot. You know what I mean? Things happen, I get it, but like, from as black man, right? Because I can't tell no black woman how to be a black woman. We gotta kind of have that conversation with our brothers, man. Like, we gotta figure out a way. Because if it's therapy, right? If it's like a black man consult group, like something, man, we need to hug each other. You know what I mean? Just more like we got to, because what that does is it creates a lasting effect to our women, our kids, and even us, right? Because obviously that pain is coming from somewhere and it's weighing on us, and we're not doing anything to get rid of it. But I see that a lot, man. I'll tell you that I will see that more than cats getting robbed. You know what I'm saying? I see that more than carjacking is domestic violence, right?
So domestic violence, you see more cases in domestic violence than any other thing. Violent crimes, drug offenses.
I mean, so the drug offenses, and I would say the jump outs, yeah, those things happen. Right. But I guess what is more, for me, that stands out as like as a litigator is these domestic violence cases. Right. Especially like, and it might be because of how I'm getting the cases pointed from the court, but they're a lot, man.
It's a lot.
There's a lot more than, I guess there's a lot more than I expected it to be. Right. Like when I went to law school, I didn't think that, I didn't really have the mind, like, I'm like, all right, wrongfully convicted, cat getting harassed by the police, someone might have got into a little altercation, you know what I mean? But I never thought about man beating woman, man destroying woman's property, man kidnapping woman. Those things aren't things that I thought about, you know? And I'll tell you even one more thing, man. The interfamily thing, I guess, is what I'm getting at. Right. Is the biggest thing that has been sticking out to me. When I got to the Children's Law Center, I never really, and that was my first job out of law school. I was working at the USA before that, but then when I started doing litigating work, I was at the Children's Law Center doing like abuse and neglect, foster care, special education. But in all those cases, there was one thing that was connected. Is that kids, boy or girl, were all sexually assaulted before the age of 10. By either someone in their family or someone in the community. You know what I mean? And that stood out to me. That effed me up, bro. I'm not going to hold you, bro. Right. Because, like, you know, our schools aren't set up to deal with that. Although we think they are, they're not. And it's hard to really advocate because some of the behaviors are unexplainable sometimes, you know what I mean? But me and you both know where the source is, right? And this kid had his innocence taken from him at a time where they couldn't protect herself, and the person that sometimes takes that innocence from them was supposed to be protecting them.
Right.
You know? And a lot of those kids that I seen like 4 or 5 years ago, I'm now seeing in adult court. Or I'm seeing in a juvenile court. And that's how they keep the system going. You know what I mean? And like that, I think, is what I've seen so much. And it's maybe not the most cases that I've seen,
yeah,
but it's the one that stands out the most.